Hey everybody, Phil here. Hey everybody around the country, around the world. I have people I've been hearing from Australia, Indonesia, Canada, and all over the great United States. Haven't heard from Hawaii or Alaska yet, so if you guys are in Hawaii and Alaska and you see my videos, drop me a comment below there. I'd love to hear from you. Anyway, I've got a lot of requests about painting, and you guys have seen my painting techniques, or the results of my painting techniques. So I've had some requests to show you how I paint my projects. So I'm going to show you guys how to paint plastic, and I'm also going to give you some tips on how to paint metal as well if you guys want to paint your metal ammo boxes, and I'll show you what the end result will look like. Well, what I have right here is I have a project I'm working on for somebody, and I'm going to be painting the speaker grills red, but I'm also, oh, who didn't see that coming? It's Mr. Duke. Alright, Mr. Duke. You know, if we're shooting a video, Duke has to show up. So, anyway. So, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you, this is a plastic ammunition box that I'm working on for somebody right now. I haven't cut the holes yet, everything. The box is going to stay black. I'm only going to paint the handles and the speaker grills. And I'm going to paint the latches, which is right here, red, along with the handle. And you can see you can pop these off, and it makes it a whole lot easier. Used to, I didn't know how to pop these off, and I would actually mask off the entire box, and it wastes a lot of tape and things like that. So now I've learned how to pop the latches off, pop the handle off. Lay down, Duke. Come on, lay down. And let me show you what the end result will look like. Now, this is one that I did a while back. I haven't finished it yet. This one doesn't have any guts inside of it yet, but this is a purple feminine Harley-Davidson box that I did, a few months ago. You see the Harley logos and everything there. I got the paint match perfect. And I'm actually making this for a lady, and I hope to have it done in a couple of weeks. This one's going to be power supply only, because this one's just going to be used inside the house or inside their place of business, so they don't need it battery powered. And of course, it's got a FM radio and all the goodies in it and things like that. So these nice purple painted speakers are the handles I painted and the latches. And I believe this is the first one I actually popped everything off, so I don't have any paint drips or bleed over. It's really hard to mask all this off. It really is. So it worked out really, really well. So that's what the end result's going to look like, except everything's going to be red. And I'm using Boss speakers instead of kicker speakers. So that gives you an idea what it's going to look like. And I'll show you the metal project in a minute. So what I want to do first is we want to go ahead and prepare the parts. So let me show you what you're going to need if you want to paint your plastic speaker grills or paint your whole plastic box. Unfortunately, I don't have a plastic box painted anymore. Most of them might have been sold. I mainly do metal now. So, but I have painted entire boxes. If you go back and look at my videos, if you look up the Air Force box, Buffalo Bills, the Houston Texans one that I did a while back, those you can see the entire box being painted. Okay, Duke, what are you doing? Oh, I love this cat, but he drives me crazy sometimes. Yes. We need to show the folks how to paint, okay? You gonna let me do that? Huh? Alright, I'll tell you what. Why don't you go over here for a little while and be a big kitty. Alright, lay down. Okay, let me show you what you're going to need before we even start. This way you can go ahead and get everything together that you're going to need. No, Duke, stay back. Lay down. Oh, goodness. Cat. Well, those of you that love to see Duke, there you go. Alright, what you're going to need here is you can go to the hardware store, dollar store, wherever you like to shop, and go ahead and get you some of the green Scotch-Brite pad, the medium. You don't want the heavy duty because it's going to scratch your project up, metal or plastic. The green works perfect. Now the reason we use a Scotch-Brite pad is because when plastic comes from the factory, you probably noticed it has this it's nice and shiny. What that is that's a UV coating that has been applied to the plastic from the factory, and that protects the plastic from breaking down from UV ray lights that come from the sun. and it makes the plastic last a lot longer because plastic will break down over time, over 20, 30, 40 years. The sun breaks it down. And your paint is not going to stick to this UV coating right here. And I've learned the hard way. The paint will just flake right off this coating. So what you're going to have to do is get this coating off of here. So we're going to take the Scotch-Brite pad, and you're going to hit every little surface that you can with the Scotch-Brite pad. And for these little bitty areas in there, don't be afraid to take it with some scissors and cut it. And you can really get in those nice little tiny areas right there. And just this little area right here, I'll show you the difference. Yeah. Work on that. And it's going to take a few minutes to do. It takes about, 10 or 15 minutes per beaker grill. They're really good. Now you see how shiny it is down here, but how dull that is right there. We took off that UV coating, so that's what we're going to do. Now the other thing I'm going to show you how to do is, you can see here it's got a nice little Chrome Boss logo. I want to preserve that logo. Now if you just want to paint over it, that's perfectly fine. I don't want to paint over this. I like it to stand out. So we're going to cover it with some masking tape. So what I'm going to do is, let's see if you can see this with Mr. Duke here. We'll go ahead and put the Scotch-Brite pads away. And we're going to take our masking tape. Now you can use the blue painter's tape, and it works okay. I only use this if I'm really going to mark off an area. But masking tape works a whole lot better when you're actually trying to mask off something specific like this. So let me see if I can put Duke in my lap. I know one way to get rid of him. He doesn't like aerosol spray. So there he goes. That was just clear. Duke is terribly afraid of aerosol. So you're going to take your tape right here, and you're going to go ahead and start covering up the logo, and it's going to overlap a little bit. Just kind of get it real close to the edges right there, and try to get a real sharp edge there. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure I cover it all up. And try to work it in there with your fingers to kind of get all around the edge. And the other thing I do is, you want to get you a hobby knife or X-Acto knife, and you want to take the back side, the dull side, and kind of use it to press it in there and really try to get that edge as sharp as you possibly can, and get the tape real close to what you're working on, as you can see there. Alright, don't be afraid. You never work with your fingers. Now what we're going to do is we're going to ever so gently take the sharp side of our X-Acto knife, and we're going to trace as close to the logo there as we can. We're not pressing down very hard. We don't want to actually cut the plastic. We just want to cut the tape. So we're going to kind of go around like that. And I need my glasses for this. So getting old, you got to wear glasses. Not all of us, but I do. I'm also diabetic. That's one reason why my eyesight's not what it used to be. But everybody in my family wears glasses. My brother does, my mother did, my father does. So I was just next in line. Alright, you want to make sure you got that scored really good. Now go ahead and take your X-Acto knife here, and you can start peeling off the tape there. If you got a pair of tweezers, that'll help as well. And I keep a trash can here at the end of my table, so I can just go ahead and throw away scraps and things like that really easily. And while I'm doing this, I want to give a big thank you to all my subscribers. I now have 412 subscribers. I mean, I know that doesn't sound like a lot in the YouTube world, but to me it's a lot. I'm just some unknown guy building boom boxes with a crazy cat named Duke. And I want to thank you guys for supporting me, and thank you for all the kind words, everybody who loves my work. And thank you for you guys who have bought boxes from me. I just heard from Aaron in Missouri, who you saw the cooler that I did last weekend. I featured. He was very, very pleased with that cooler, and I'm very glad. And I have my boom boxes are in 7 different states. They are in, of course, Texas, Florida, South Carolina, Connecticut, Ohio, Pennsylvania, of course, Missouri, and Washington State. Okay, and I'm just going to take my X-Acto knife and try to get that as sharp as I possibly can. Okay, you can see there I've got both the logos covered up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our Scotch-Brite pad and we're going to continue scuffing these up. And you want to make sure, even though this is, I believe this is metal right here, you still want to hit that with the Scotch-Brite pad. And you want to go ahead and get all the surfaces. Don't forget about the edges right here as well. I don't want to forget the edges, but you're going to want to get every little crack and crevice. And I know every speaker grill is a little bit different, but you really got to get in there. Now, another tip I wanted to give you guys. Now, also, we're going to do these parts here as well. So, any of the plastic parts we're going to get, but also don't forget the edges. You really got to get the edges because you want the edges to be painted as well. You don't want the paint to flake off. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, Phil, how in the world are you going to paint these parts? Well, the speaker grills are easy. These parts here are a little bit trickier, but I'm going to show you some tricks here. I'm going to go ahead and get this one done. Now, if this is your first time watching my channel, I have some people that find my videos for the first time. I want to say a big welcome to my channel. Basically, on my channel, I do a lot of how-to things, showing people how to build boom boxes, but I also sell them. So if you guys are interested in buying one of my projects, or if you'd like me to do a specific project for you, I'd be more than happy to. I just got a request to do a Dallas Cowboys boom box, and I heard from a gentleman in Minnesota that would like me to do a Vikings boom box. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Let me go ahead and clean off my table here. Now, once you get your part all scuffed up, it's going to be some residue left over from the Scotch-Brite pad. Now, I used to use cans of air, and that's great, but it blows the dust all over the place. And the cans of air are also expensive. They're about $6 a can. I went and got this little $2 paintbrush. And I tell you, this thing just works really good. You can even do it right here over the trash can. But it really helps get all that residue off your projects. And it works really, really good. Now, the way I'm going to paint these particular parts here is I have a hanger, just a regular clothes hanger. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put me some little wires right here and actually suspend these from the clothes hanger. And I'm going to hold the clothes hanger as I paint them. And once I get them painted, I'm just going to hang them up in the bathroom across the shower bar, just long enough for them to dry, or you can hang them in a closet. But you really want to put them somewhere where there's going to be some airflow. You don't want, if you guys have a garage, you can hang them out in the garage if you like. Depends on the humidity of where you live. If you do put them outside, it may take longer to dry. But that's basically how you prepare the surface for the painting of plastic. You want to get all that surface off of there. Now, metal is the same way. Now, if you guys want to paint your metal projects like this one here, you can certainly do that. Now, the technique is going to be very similar. And what you're going to do again, now this one here, I had bought it originally. I was going to leave it like this. This is one of my 30 caliber boxes that you see me do last week. And it just has the speaker ports and the vent. And what this does, it turns any speaker into a Bluetooth speaker. And I'll show you what it looks like when you get done. And this is one that I already painted up. And you probably saw the video a couple of weeks ago I did of this one right here. And it came out really, really good. And I use the same technique that I'm going to use on this one. And you can see again, you got the speaker ports back here, and I painted them to match. But you don't have to put the paracord up here. I did it because I like the way it looks. Just gives it a nice look. Normally I put the paracord on here to stop the vibration, but these don't vibrate at all. But that gives you an idea of what it's going to look like when you get it done. So what you're basically going to do is the same technique basically. Just take your Scotch-Brite pad. Now I like to try to go in one direction. You really don't want to make a lot of swirl patterns because that can come through in your paint. So just try to go east to west, or if you want to go north to south, that's it. But you don't want to cross it. The other thing you want to do is go ahead and take the lid off, and you want to paint them separately because if not, so you're going to have that line right there. See right there, you can get to it. And you don't want your customer to open the box and have a big green line right there. You want the paint to be consistent. Don't forget about the edges as well. Alright, now the other thing is, since this is already glued in place, I want this this vent here to disappear. By the way, this is just a little strainer that I bought at Lowe's for $2. And I put that in there because I'm using a 120 watt amplifier with a heat sink, and this kind of lets the amplifier breathe inside the box. And we're just going to paint over that. So we're going to go ahead and just hit all the surfaces like this. Don't forget the corners. Now the corners I go up and down, and I try to do as much as I can. Like I said, don't forget the corners. Don't forget the top. Don't forget your hinges right there as well. Your hinges are going to need some paint as well. Just kind of... Now, people are probably saying, well, why are you scuffing up the metal? And I do that because even though it is already painted, I don't know where this paint has been. This is an old metal box. And I don't know what they use to treat the paint. So by scuffing the surface like this, you're putting grooves into the paint that's already on here, and that'll give the new paint something to stick to, something to grab onto. It'll give it some bite, or give it some teeth, as they say. We're going to go ahead and hit all the surfaces. Now, here's another tip that I need to give you while you're doing this. You always want to drill your holes first before you paint. Now, these holes were already pre-drilled. Normally, I'll go ahead and scuff the surface before I drill the holes, because now, see, that's catching on the holes there. You don't have to. It's up to you, but you always want to drill your holes first because you don't want to put a brand new coat of paint on here and then start cutting into your paint for a couple of reasons. Number one, especially these metal boxes, if you have fresh paint on here, you know from experience, when you're cutting these boxes, hot metal shavings are going to go in everywhere, and they're going to stick to that brand new paint job, and it's going to ruin your paint job. Because what's going to happen is that hot metal is going to dig into that paint. The other thing is, if you're drilling, especially your pilot holes here for your speakers, I learned the hard way one day. I was pre-drilling some holes after I had painted. The drill slipped and actually scratched the paint, and I had to start all over. It ruined the project. So even your holes for your screws, go ahead and do all your pre-drilling, your switches, your vents, whatever you have. And if you're going to drill in the lid, go ahead and do that. Get all your drilling done first before you do your paint. But again, you can scuff the surface. And also, again, these little odd edges right here, and even the little, under here, you got to kind of raise it up, and don't forget any of the surface. Don't forget any of your holes, even the hole there for the charger. Actually, this one's not going to have a battery. This one's pretty much going to be here just for show. What I'm doing with this one is I want to do a Dallas Cowboys boombox. I've had a couple of requests, but I want to make sure the paint color looks right. So I'm actually going to do a test and with this metallic paint here, and I want to see how it looks, if that's the right color, before I put it on somebody's actual project. So that's how you prepare the surface with scuffing. And again, go ahead and take your brush, even on the metal, and you want to go ahead and, especially around here, you got these little cracks and crevices where the dust can get in. Go ahead and take care of that. Now I know some of you, I don't want to hear it, are telling me it's an immortal sin to be painting over this nice Army boombox. You can see this one here just had blanks in it, so it's not that fancy. If this one had tracer rounds or something, I would not paint over it. But the ones that say blank, I don't care. Now again, I'm going to do the same thing to the lid, so you guys don't need to see me do it twice. But make sure you can get the little bars and anything that you're going to paint like that. Now for you guys that are going to put the paracord on your box, what I do is go ahead and put some tape. I'll show you right here, because I do like to get the handle painted as well. That way if the paracord's not tight, you're not going to see a green handle poking through. It's going to look pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and just put me a piece of tape around the wire here to hold it up. And also it's going to make it easier when you get ready to do your Scotch-Brite pad. And I do recommend putting paracord on if you do run an Army box, because it does keep the rattling down. Well, normally it helps. Some more tape on here. Anyway, guys, what do y'all think about Duke? Matter of fact, here comes Duke again. He's going to try for a second run at it, I guess. And maybe we should let him have at it. Now, there he is. There's Mr. Duke. What do you guys think about Mr. Duke? You know, send me put me a comment below and let me know what you think about Duke here. Is he getting in the way? Do you love him? Do you like seeing Duke in the videos? I mean, he loves showing off for everybody. And again, it's going to be the same technique, you know, east to west. And go ahead and make sure you get under the handle. Very important. Any surface that's going to be painted, make sure you get every surface. Because again, you don't know where these boxes have been. They might have grease on them or oil, or you don't know what they came in contact with, especially these old Army boxes. And even the new ones that you buy at the store. Like you guys that buy your ammo boxes from Harbor Freight, or Academy Sports and Outdoors, or wherever you get them. Now another little technique I'm going to tell you guys about. Again, don't forget the edges. Make sure you get every surface. I mean, this is not something you do quickly. You're going to take your time, because you want to have a really, really good paint job. So take your time, do quality work. And if you mess it up the first time, hey, don't worry about it. You guys will be shocked how many paint jobs I've messed up. Matter of fact, I got one right down here. I use this to drill holes now, but you can see how the sticker peeled off. I forgot to put a adhesive promoter on there, and also see how the paint chipped up real bad. And I tried to fix it, but it looked terrible. So this is one I had to start over on. You see how bad the surface looked. So this is one of the ones I made a mistake on, but that's okay. You see all the holes in it now, like Swiss cheese. I use this for practice drilling when I'm trying different drill bits out and things like that. That's what I use this for. That's why I keep it around. Anyway, go ahead and hit the handle too, so we're going to paint it. And little edges right there. Alright, now another tip I'm going to tell you guys, paint the handle and the box separately, and you want to go ahead and put them on a piece of cardboard or a piece of wood or something you can use, so you don't have to actually touch the box after you paint it, and you can pick it up and set it somewhere to dry. I actually put mine in my spare restroom because nobody uses that bathroom shower, so I actually put these in the bathtub. This way Mr. Duke doesn't get near it, and things like that. And like I said, guys, if you prepare the surface right, you'll have a beautiful paint job. If you guys saw the Astros box I did in my last video, I'd use the exact same techniques that you see me using here. Now, here's what I'm going to show you what you start out with. Let me this green residue off my table here. Boy, the manufacturers of this table, see what the thing looks like now. I got paint and scratches and holes. Okay, once you have your your stuff ready to paint, whether it's an ammo box or your plastic, the main thing you got to use is you've got to use an adhesive promoter. I do. And what this basically is, this is like glue for paint, and it's also a clear primer. And what this does is it's alcohol based. So when you, and it's got a chemical in here that's very sticky to paint. So once you spray it on the surface, what you're going to do is try to hit every surface. Now you don't have to soak it, you have to shake it up just like paint. The marble in there, get it loose, and just spray it enough where you're going to see it wet. You know, okay, you're not going to soak it, but you're going to see the surface is visibly wet. Once you do paint that, what you're going to do is, let's say spray with a heat holder, you need to watch the clock. You need to let it sit for 10 minutes. And that 10 minutes is going to allow the alcohol to dry. And I would actually, if you can, depending on the size of your project, bring it in the house where the humidity is lower if you have your air conditioner on. For you guys that don't have air conditioning up in the northeast, you probably have lower humidity. You may have to worry about it, but watch the humidity. And number one is, if it's raining outside and you're going to paint your garage or something, I really advise against painting whatsoever. You don't want the humidity that high. Or if it's you guys on the West Coast, San Francisco, if the fog rolls in that morning, I really advise against you guys painting at 100% humidity, because this is not going to evaporate well enough, and you're going to have moisture that'll get in your paint, and you're going to have a bad paint job. Because I did do a paint job one day in the rain out under the cover because I was bored. We had a hurricane, and it turned out terrible. So, you know, set your stopwatch on your phone. If you don't have a clock in your house, I just look at the clock and let this sit for 10 minutes on your project. Once it sits for 10 minutes, the second step is really personal preference. For instance, if you're painting something like this that's black or dark green, the color is going to look a little bit darker if you prefer not to use any type of a light colored primer underneath. Now, the Rust-Oleum, a lot of these are paint and primer in one, so you can just go ahead and paint straight over the surface. Just make sure you shake the paint can at least for about a minute to 2 minutes. Really get that paint mixed up before you paint. But what I do sometimes, let's say I want this red really to pop. What I would do is I would get me a white or silver primer and go ahead and spray the primer on here first. Once you spray the primer on your project, I like to let the primer sit for at least 16 to 24 hours. Actually, probably close to 18 to 24 hours. Let the primer be completely dry before you put your paint on. So if you have the time, or you want the color to be really, really bright, like it's here, or you're putting on a color like yellow or even white, and you want something to look bright, I'd say go ahead and use the white primer. Now again, if you don't mind it being a little bit shade of darker, you can go ahead and use the paint straight out of the can. So that takes me to my next step. Now, when you get ready to paint, what you're going to want to do is go ahead and, I like to do is take my speaker grills and I go ahead and screw them down to a piece of cardboard. Number one, it makes it easier, but also you want to use the screws that you're going to use to attach the speakers, because what's going to happen is when you do that, the screws are also going to get painted. And this way, and unless you just want silver or black to stand out on your paint job, I like the screws to blend in with the speaker grills. So this way the screws will get painted along with the speaker grills. And that just gives it a little bit, you know, nicer look. Now, the other thing is, now when you get ready to paint, I've made a lot of mistakes in painting, and I've learned different techniques. I've watched a lot. Hey everybody, that concludes part one of this video. I hate to leave you hanging like that, but leave it on a cliffhanger. But I noticed this video is getting kind of long. It was up to 30 minutes, and so I want to make this a two-part video instead of just one long video you have to sit through. So I'm going to record part two later on this evening, and I'll have that up tomorrow. So 24 hours from the time you see this video, the next video will be up, and you'll be able to see part two of how to paint plastic and how to paint your project. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos. Thank you so much to all my subscribers, all my supporters. And big hello to, of course, Duke. He's around here somewhere. But thank you guys so much for watching. And this is part one. And get ready for part two coming up tomorrow. Thanks for watching.